Well, few people are aware of the fact that Nissan makes some of the most popular SUVs in the world. They make the Nissan Patrol, they make the Nissan Qashqai, as well as the Nissan X-Trail. So has the company managed to put in all that technology as well as engineering prowess into the Terrano, or is it just a reskinned version of the Renault Duster? We'll find out on the show today. Because of the big boxy and square shape on the outside, the Terrano has a lot of usable space on the inside, and that also translates into one of the biggest boots in this segment. And as you can see, we've really loaded it up to the gills with all sorts of stuff. And at the moment we've got some cushions, a big suitcase and a couple of bags inside it, and there's space for a lot more. So this is one of the better cars if you are someone who regularly uses the highway for those long outdoor trips on the weekends. The Terrano is one of the bigger boots in this segment, and there's very minimal suspension intrusion into it, and it is a deep boot which goes all the way to the back end of the back seats. The tall roofline also means that you can remove the partial shelf and really load this car up all the way to its roof. Because of that ground clearance, the loading lip, the sill is a little high, and it can get a little tiring if you are putting in a lot of heavy luggage into this car. You will have to put in your back into it, but it's also a good thing if you are someone who likes to be on that trip, sit here and enjoy the sunset. Well, because it is an SUV, you sit nice and high inside the Terrano, and the large glass area really does give you a very commanding view of the road ahead, and also makes the cabin feel like a much more airy as well as breezy place to be in. The Terrano's build quality is definitely much better than the car is based on the Renault Duster, and all the plastics, even at the lower end of the dashboard, feel like they are put together solidly. While at this price point, this is the best car in terms of overall build quality as well as materials used. It's also the best car for practicality and usability. You get a lot of places to keep your knickknacks in. You of course get this big box over here where you can keep those toll receipts or even your cell phone in it. You also get a large glove box, it's a pretty big one, and you get two cup holders over here where you can of course keep your favorite sweet beverage, and the door bins are large enough to house those big 1 liter bottles in them. Well, this top of the line version comes with these leather seats as option, and you also get the basic versions which come with those regular fabric seats, and whichever one you choose, both of them are supreme for comfort, and the cushioning is really very good, and the support, the back support is excellent as well. So this is one of the better cars if you are someone who travels on the highway and spends a lot of time inside the cabin. Well, all the controls are neatly laid out and are very easy to operate. The only issue is that the AC controls are slightly towards the lower end of the dashboard, and that can mean that you have to take your eyes off the road. So that can be a bit of an issue, but I'm only nitpicking over here. And another small downside is that the electric operation for the side view mirrors is placed over here right below the handbrake, and that can be a bit of an irritant to use at some times. But apart from that, it's a great car for overall practicality as well as usability. The Terrano's boxy shape on the outside means that there's plenty of room inside the cabin, and as you can see, headroom is really generous, and I've got good amount of knee room as well. And as always, I have adjusted the front seat for my height and my driving position, and my height for reference is 5'10", and even if I sit really up straight over here and stretch out my neck, and there is someone who is going to be taller than me, someone who is 6 feet, he should not really struggle for headroom. So a great place for even tall passengers in the back seat of the Terrano. Well, to improve comfort further, Nissan have given you a separate AC vent at the back, and the throw from this one is really very strong. Unlike some other manufacturers who just position it just for the heck of it, this one really does push the comfort inside this car to another level and makes life much more easier for passengers at the back. Well, even though the Terrano is genuinely a wide car at the back, the only issue for the central passenger will be that the tunnel over here is slightly raised, and because of this AC vent, whoever's sitting here will have to stretch his feet and struggle a little bit with the co-occupants. But that said, it isn't as bad as some of its rivals. Well, seat comfort in the back seat of the Terrano is excellent, and cushioning as well as overall support from these seats is good as well. And that, along with that big glass area, means that life inside the Terrano's cabin feels nice, airy and very breezy. Well, the Terrano comes with that famous 1.5 litre diesel engine, which is also shared with the Renault Duster. And the biggest plus point on this diesel engine is the fact that it's a very refined unit. It's supreme for refinement, and that makes the Terrano the quietest car in this compact SUV segment. Well, this diesel engine comes with two different states of tune. There's an 85 bhp version, and there's also a 110 bhp version, but you should really go in for the 110 bhp version if you are someone who chooses to be on the highway very often. If of course you are someone who sticks to the city, then the 85 bhp version is all the power you will ever need to drive this car. Well, there's also a petrol motor to choose from, but it's best avoided because neither is it as fuel efficient as the diesel engines, nor does it have the same amount of torque to deliver, so sticking with the diesels is the better option in the Terrano. Well, where the Terrano also impresses is in its gear shift quality. It's a 6-speed manual gearbox that this top-of-the-line 110 bhp version comes with, and it's a very smooth and very easy to operate gearbox, and it's also the best gearbox in this segment. Well, the 6-speed gearbox also gives the engine a lot of flexibility on the highway, so if you are doing speeds of about 90-100 kph, the engine is at a relatively low 1800-1900 rpm, and that really makes it a very quiet and peaceful cabin on those long highway trips. Well, the Terrano truly impresses in its ride comfort, and both slow-speed city ride as well as high-speed manners are excellent, and it offers you a very absorbent suspension. It really does take in all the bumps and soaks in the bumps very well. It's a very cushiony ride. Well, those massive tires on the outside along with that able suspension really does make the Terrano a comfortable car when it comes to dealing with bad patchwork roads in India. And it's a very reassuring car in terms of the braking, and it doesn't really dive around when you brake hard, giving it a lot of confidence and the edge over most of its rivals. Well, the only area where the Terrano falls slightly behind its main rival, the Ford EcoSport, is in the handling department. Now, this of course is a much bigger and a much more heavier SUV than the EcoSport, and what that means is that when you are maneuvering it in the city or even on the highway and are negotiating through traffic, it doesn't feel as nimble or as agile as the EcoSport does. Well, if you are in the market for a relatively affordable compact SUV, then the Terrano is the best option out there for you. It comes with a comfortable and roomy cabin, a decent set of features, as well as a very refined engine and a very accomplished ride. And all that, along with those sharp looks on the outside, makes this a very strong contender in the compact SUV space. But before you decide to put your money on one, you should also check out our review of its main rivals, the Ford EcoSport and the Renault Duster, by clicking our comparison over here, and also of the Mahindra Scorpio by clicking this link over here. And as always, don't forget to subscribe by clicking on the link below. It's bye for now, and hope to see you soon.